The following production is produced by the State University of New York College at Oneonta.
Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of Inside Red Dragon Sports. On tonight's show, we're going to preview our men's lacrosse spring season coming up. We've invited into studio head coach Dan Mahar, along with players, senior captains Steve Loesch and Andrew McIntosh. So please join me after the break, where I'll be joined by head coach Dan Mahar.
Hey, how's it going?
Sir, are you okay?
What? Oh, this? It's probably nothing. I'm sure it'll go away.
Go away? But sir, that can't be good.
No, it's cool, really.
Do you want a napkin or something?
Everything's fine. Thanks.
You wouldn't ignore this, so why ignore the signs of a stroke? At the first warning signs, call 911 immediately, because time lost is brain lost.
Welcome back to the show. Now joining me in studio is head men's lacrosse coach Dan Mahar. Welcome to the show, Dan.
Thanks for having me, Geoff.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a graduate of Oneonta. I came here in 1994. I transferred here from St. Lawrence University. I spent 2 years there, then transferred here, and I had 3 years of lacrosse eligibility, so was able to get the most out of that experience. Played here for 3 years, had a great experience, and then stayed around and coached. So I was here for 4 years as an assistant coach, and then worked on my master's degree out in Boston, and then came back and continued to work for the college in a few other capacities before being offered the head coaching job. So it's been nice.
Now, your hometown, where'd you grow up in New York?
I'm originally from Syracuse, graduated high school in Fulton, New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the experience that you had, like you said, you transferred here. Your experience just overall as a student athlete, because of course you kind of got in when our men's lacrosse program really was starting to take off. So, and you were a captain for us. Mm-hmm. How do you think, how important was that for you to be a captain and try and maybe start the tradition of what we got now?
That really was a great experience for me. When I first got here, we were we were certainly an established program, but we really hadn't enjoyed a lot of success on the field. We hadn't had a winning record yet and those types of things, and we were also my first year here coincided with Jim Nagel's first year here as a head coach, so there was a lot of transition at the time, and he was following a great coach in Joe Alberici, who has now gone on and had a lot of success, as has Jim. So Joe's at the university, or at Army at West Point, and Jim's now at Colgate. So they both have had a lot of success. But at the time, again, there was a lot of transition, and so it was that sort of a program at the time. We certainly had our growing pains for the first couple of years, and I was fortunate after 1 year to be named captain my second year here, and so was captain for 2 years, and we had modest success my second year here, and then my third year here I felt like we really kind of broke in and made the postseason and enjoyed a lot of success on the field.
Now you say postseason, at that point we were part of the Empire Lacrosse League, is that?
Correct.
And we started to get, like you said, some success. We were in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we won the league. We ended up winning the league a couple times before that kind of went by the wayside, and now we have the SUNY Act. So right. Do you think that kind of, where you were a part of that building block to get us to that point? I mean, how, as a team leader?
Well, I would like to think so. I mean, of course, when I was a senior, I was the only senior on the team. So we had a great group of players and plenty of talent, but they were young. And I would like to think that my leadership and kind of my example was a good resource for them to kind of develop into good players for us, and certainly. Again, my senior year was the first year we made the postseason, which was the ECAC tournament at the time, and then we went on to win those ELL championships, and and then eventually make the NCAA tournament, which was great.
Now, coming back as a coach, what kind of transition was that for you as an assistant coach, getting to work for Jim, who obviously, like you said, has gone on to be pretty successful at the Division I level. What kind of a transition was that for you, and what do you think it's done for you now as you're a head coach?
It was a little bit of a struggle. I think that I had plenty of years as an assistant under my belt, and certainly felt confident and ready to be a head coach. But really, until you're the guy and you're the one making the decisions, you're not sure. And so certainly we've had some growing pains again with the transition here. But I think that we've continued to move in the right direction every year, and I think this year we're a little bit better team and a better program than we were in the past. And last year I think we were a little bit better program than we were even the year before. So I think we're heading in the right direction, but it has certainly been a transition.
Now, do you attribute that to some of the leadership skills that you learned as a player now that you're a head coach, and what kinds of things you like in your program? Because now when you're out recruiting, I mean, obviously every coach here, we've talked to other coaches throughout the year, recruiting that player that you think fits in the program. I mean, so what kind of philosophy do you use when you're recruiting?
Well, the one thing that's really worked well for us is we recruit, our best recruits that we've had here a lot of times have come from high schools where we already have established relationships. So, some of the best players that we have, some of the best leaders that we have in our program, they've come here, they've enjoyed success, they've been an important part of what we're doing, and they've gone home and shared that experience at home, and that's really led us to the next guy from their high schools and so on. I mean, there's two high school programs right now that we have 4 players from each of those high schools. So I mean,
and those are?
Those are Suffern High School and Putnam Valley High School. Okay. So we're certainly looking in that direction, and that's been a great success for us.
Now, so you feel that a big part of that is kids who play at successful high school programs. We're trying to get those better players. So we're trying to pinpoint those better programs, and because these kids are going back home and right. saying, hey, that men's lacrosse is a great way to come, and Oneonta is a great school.
Right.
Do you talk about those things during the recruiting process? I mean, we know it's lacrosse, but also the education. Now, you went to Oneonta, so you can talk firsthand about the educational experience and all that. So how do you incorporate that into your recruiting?
Yeah, that's certainly another part of it. And I mean, I try to put myself in the perspective of the prospective student, and they get a similar message from a lot of different places and from a lot of different coaches. And what I try and hammer home in terms of the message that we're trying to get to these students is that I've been here, and so I'm speaking firsthand about what my experience was like. And we try and encourage them to ask the guys that are on the team, what is their experience? Don't just listen to the guy trying to sell his program. Listen to the guys that we have here that you know their parents and those types of things. And that's really, I think, been an effective way for us to get some great kids.
So you rely on the kids who are already in the program when the kids come overnight and
Absolutely.
talk to them, and that's been a pretty positive experience as
Absolutely. well? Absolutely. The kids that have come overnight, whether they know the guys who they're staying with beforehand or just through that experience, they've maintained strong relationships. They contact each other, throughout the season. When their high school games are getting over, they're sending scores and those types of things. And I really do think that that's a key component in our success with recruiting.
Well, I think that certainly would work great. Now, this year's team, we've already played a couple games. We're off to a 2-0 start, an exciting overtime game this past weekend against Clarkson. How do you feel right now through the first couple games in your preseason? And then maybe we'll get into some other stuff about some of the players that we...
Sure. I'm feeling good with where we're at right now. I mean, obviously 2-0 is as good as you can start. We are doing some real good things out there. I think we're playing as a team. I think we're playing a disciplined sort of style, and I think that most importantly, we're playing with a focus on fundamentals. and obviously that's a good recipe for success. So we've had some scrimmages in the fall, and we've had a couple more scrimmages in the spring, and then obviously our 2 official games. And really through the whole year so far, with all of those games, that's kind of been a theme, and that's been a good recipe for success. So we certainly have an awful lot to improve upon, and you know, there's times when we get away from that where we start to struggle, and that certainly happened on Saturday in particular. And we have a real tough stretch coming up here with some top tier type programs. So we'll continue to be challenged, but so far I'm real happy with where we're at.
Now, when you put your schedule together, do you try and, I guess you say, like, grade it? You know what I mean? Like, maybe you want to start off with some games that you know you'll be in, but could go either way, and to try and build on that kind of success. I mean, do you take that into account when you're putting together a schedule for?
Well, philosophically, for me, I think it's always great to start with a win, but it's with where Division III lacrosse is right now, it's difficult to kind of find those types of games. I mean, there's so much parity right now, and we're not a team that has established ourselves at this point as a team that can walk out and beat a team without going through a lot of work. So we certainly want to try and schedule a winnable game early on, but you know, more important than that is we want to challenge ourselves throughout the course of the season with the best competition that we can. I mean, we're fortunate that we're in a conference that has an automatic qualifier for the NCAAs, and that's what we're gunning for. If we feel like we can get into the SUNY tournament, if we can win 2 games, then we're going to the NCAAs regardless of what our record was. So, you know, our goal is to challenge ourselves and get better every single week, and hopefully put ourselves in a position where we're good enough at the end of the season to compete for that SUNY title and then make it to the NCAAs.
Right. Now, so far, why don't we talk about maybe some of the upperclassmen first that we think will be big contributors for us, and then we can talk about some of the, you know, freshmen or maybe guys that have come along into their sophomore year. So why don't we talk about some of the upperclassmen first?
Well, you know, our seniors have been outstanding so far, and we certainly expect that to continue. We have 3 senior captains, Matt Harvey, Steve Loesch, Andrew McIntosh, and we have a couple other seniors that have been real key contributors for us already this year, including Andrew Gallo and Scott Wiener. And those guys, you know, 2 of those guys are down low for us at the defensive end and really anchoring things down low for us. And a couple of the other guys are offensive players, so they've certainly helped get us the ball and keep the ball for us. So we're expecting those guys to continue to kind of lead us. But overall, I think we're beyond that. We're a relatively young team. We have a very good sophomore class and an outstanding freshman class, in my opinion, that have already paid off big dividends for us.
Who are some of those guys in that freshman-sophomore group that you think?
Well, you know, the sophomores, Hugh O'Gorman, again, is another starter for us, and he's made the transition this year from long stick midi down low to close defense, and he's had 2 outstanding games. And he's the type of athlete where really the sky's the limit for him. He's got size, he's got speed, he's got skills, and so he's been great. And you know, Blair Hansen's another guy that's continued to be successful. He had an outstanding freshman year last year, and really is a great role model for some of our younger guys in terms of how we want to play. And that's he does the little things. You know, he does score goals and does get assists, but he rides hard and he gets ground balls and does all those little things that you want him to do as a coach.
Right. Some of the incoming recruits that you think you think you have a pretty strong, or one of the best freshman classes we've had in a long time here. Who are some of the names that we think we might see in the paper? Right
off the top, you know, Jimmy Van de Beerdonk is a guy that we're real fortunate to have and real excited about. And again, in just a short period of time, he's paid big dividends for us. He's a high school All-American coming out of Putnam Valley High School. And again, getting back to kind of our recruiting philosophy, he's a guy that maybe we wouldn't have had a shot at had we not, you know, had some other Putnam Valley guys that are having a good experience and kind of develop that trust with a guy like Jimmy before he got here. And he's just, I mean, he's got all the tools as well. He's fast, he's got good size, he He does so many different things for us with face-offs, with offense, with defense, with transition. He's been a key element for us. And so far we have 2 freshman attackmen that we've been kind of forced to ask to step up a little bit for us early in the season, and they've done a great job. John Diordio from Shenango Forks, and Mike Salerno from West Babylon, who started the season off for us with a 5-goal game against Mary Washington. So those 2 guys have been great for us as well. And again, the same type of guys. I mean, those guys will score goals, obviously, and they'll get assists, but they're going to ride hard. They're going to get ground balls. They're going to set picks. They're going to occupy their guy off the ball. They're going to do the little things that we know need to happen for some of our other teammates to be successful. So.
Okay, well, as we look at the SUNY, because of course, we have 2 of the better teams in the country, Cortland, defending national champion, and Geneseo. How do you think the conference stacks up this year, and where do you hope we can get into?
Well, I mean, Cortland, in spite of just being knocked off actually this weekend, they started the season ranked #1 in the country. And they're the defending national champs, and they've been to the national championship game each of the past several seasons. So they're really the gold standard right now nationally, not just certainly within our conference, but across the country. And our goal is to put ourselves in a situation where we can compete with them. Right. And we feel like we're closer to doing that than we have in the past. But that's not a game that we can expect to win without playing our best. Geneseo, again, is another outstanding program, and they've established themselves as a top-tier program, top 15 program, year in and year out. They beat Cortland last year. They won the SUNYAC regular season. So they're really another program that we're still playing catch-up with. And then I think there's a lot of teams kind of in the same boat with where we are. I feel like if we can make the SUNYAC tournament, that's really kind of our #1 objective, to make the tournament. I think we're good enough where maybe we can beat one or both of those teams in the SUNYAC tournament and then get to the NCAAs. I don't think we're good enough where maybe we could sweep the SUNYAC title and the tournament, but I don't think we need to do that at this point. That's more of a longer-term goal.
Now, do you think having teams like Cortland and Geneseo in our conference, it's got to elevate the entire conference, not, like even the teams that maybe are striving, like you said, that might be in last place or something like that, do you think that overall, even on a regional and a national level, helps the entire conference? Absolutely, no doubt about it. I think that, again, going back to when I was here as a student athlete, some of the teams, Geneseo, Brockport and Plattsburgh didn't even have programs, and now those are programs that are very, very competitive nationwide. And in fact, the SUNYAC conference has started off exceptionally well, beating a lot of non-conference opponents so far this week and early in the season. So without a doubt, having Cortland and the Geneseos of the world in our conference gives us a ton of credibility, and I think it's great for all the teams in our conference. Right. Well, we certainly want to thank you for coming by today, and we wish you good luck in the upcoming season. We hope you do get to the SUNYAC tournament and have that shot at winning the whole thing. Great. Great. Thanks, Geoff. All right. Well, we'd like to thank Dan Mahar for coming by tonight, and please join me after the break, where I'll be joined by one of our senior captains in studio.
When life's this hard, graduating can be even harder. But you can help Ativa and the students in your community make it through by visiting boostup.org.
Welcome back to the show. Joining me now in studio is senior men's lacrosse captain Steve Loesch. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Thank you, Geoff. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a senior from Massapequa, New York. I graduated from St. Anthony's High School. This is my final year playing on the lacrosse team, and I'm very happy that as of right now we're 2-0.
Okay, now what's your major?
I'm a double major in business and communications. I finished up my communications degree a year ago and decided after that since I had a year of lacrosse left, I'd also like to try to get my business degree.
Well, that certainly is pretty ambitious, which is awesome. What are you hoping to do with that?
You know, as of right now, I'm not sure. I received a call from a former player that I used to play with my sophomore year, and he had let his boss know about me, and he said that he was looking for young, ambitious people to help his company, and I'm hoping to keep in contact with him through my senior year and hopefully get a job through them.
Okay, well now when we use the word ambitious, we certainly want to transition a little bit into your lacrosse career that started 4 years ago as a freshman, and you kind of ran into, you were diagnosed with cancer. What form of cancer?
I was diagnosed with testicular cancer my junior year.
All right, junior year, and now you took a semester off and you came back, and the team has kind of rallied around you a little bit. You've been kind of an inspirational leader for us. Can you maybe talk about that experience and what it was like to come back, and maybe talk about what it is like to come back to the program and being with the guys and being with the team and what that's meant to you?
Sure. Well, it was a long trek, through my junior year, and not being able to play lacrosse and having to go home for a semester. It was tough, but the team stayed supportive of me. I was receiving calls every week, to talk to me and let me know how things were going with lacrosse, and just great signs of support from everybody. It was a long journey. But to be back here and to be back out on the lacrosse field is a great thing.
Now, for you, that probably just the motivation of being able to play, being out on the field, being a team leader for our program. How do you approach that end of it as well?
Well, I came back my junior year of eligibility, my senior year as far as academics goes, and I felt our team lacked a lot of senior leadership. So when I came back, I made it, a point to be vocal and to get the younger guys involved in our program, and I think that helped in getting me voted as a captain my junior year, and I've just tried to help continue that through my senior season. Now,
do you look at yourself as someone who leads by example, or a vocal leader, maybe a little of both?
I like to look at myself as a little bit of both. I like to stay vocal and keep on the guys and make sure we're doing what we need to do to keep our continued success, but also I try to lead by example and play, like Coach Mahar said, a hard style, a very blue-collar style of lacrosse, a lot of hustle, getting ground balls, doing things that aren't necessarily getting goals, but help create goals.
Right, to work hard, and that's kind of what the philosophy is of the program, is to try and everybody to work hard together and stuff like that.
Sure.
Now, overcoming, obstacles seems to be what's kind of been in your way. This past fall, your father passed away. I mean, I'm sure he was probably pretty inspirational for you during your bout with the cancer.
Sure.
How are you handling that? And again, how's that with the team and the whole support? I mean, have they been?
It's a very tough thing, for anyone to go through, especially having to go through that my junior season and now my senior season. My father meant everything to me. He meant a lot to me as far as as my life goes and as far as lacrosse. He was a big inspiration to me. He was a great lacrosse player himself, so he taught me everything I knew. And we wear CL on the back of our helmets, as a dedication to him. He was always at our lacrosse games, even if he was the only one in the stands in 30-degree weather out in the cold. He loved lacrosse and he loved our team. So
yeah, now that seems to be the lacrosse is known for great tailgate after the game. Is that kind of the way the culture is, and that whole big family atmosphere of being together, being supportive? How important is that for the whole team, for the program?
I feel it means a lot. I feel this year more than in the past, we've had the parents, getting together and emailing each other, calling each other to set up tailgates and things like that. And anytime that we can get the whole team together, around a meal, it's great for everybody.
Now, as we go forward into the season or whatever, I mean, what kinds of things are you hoping for, as maybe individually and as a team?
As a team, every year we hope to, get a bid to the NCAA tournament. But to do that, we either need to win the SUNY title because we have an automatic bid, or we need to play a tough out-of-conference schedule and win a lot of games.
Right.
And in the past, we've had success, but we've never been able to reach that point that I think this year we could possibly get to. But it's going to be a tough road. But as of right now, I think we have a team that's very capable of doing that.
Right, now you're hoping just you day by day, game by game, get a little better each week, as Coach Mahar, said previous on the show. Is that what you guys strive for?
Yeah, we take everything step by step. We hope to reach our stride mid-season. It wouldn't be good for our team if we reached our stride in the very beginning of the season, because we don't want any letdowns towards the end. We're working towards the end goal of reaching the SUNY tournament and beating Cortland and Geneseo and getting our own bid to the NCAA tournament. So we just hope to take things step by step, and hopefully from there we can do that.
Now, as a student athlete, your cumulative experience at Oneonta, what one thing might you pick out if I'm a prospective student athlete watching this? What one thing would you pick out about Oneonta or maybe the men's lacrosse program that you would tell them?
I think it's the team, the family mentality. Everyone's here for each other. We have a much larger team than most of the teams around campus. So when we get to do things together, like going down to North Carolina, it brings a lot of camaraderie. And it's great that I can give a call to a guy who graduated 2 years ago and let him know how the program's doing, and he'd love to hear how the program's doing. So it's things like that help this program become what it's been, and helps us in the future.
Well, we certainly want to wish you good luck at the upcoming season. We hope you reach all your goals this year. Thanks for coming by tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I'd like to thank Steve Loesch for coming by tonight, and after the break, I'll be joined by one of our other senior captains, Andrew McIntosh.
Hi, how are you doing today?
What looks good?
Our special today is shrimp scampi. It's been sitting around for about a week.
Excuse me, what time are you guys leaving? We're gonna rob your house tonight.
Don't you wish there were warnings to protect you from life's risks? With diabetes, there is one. It's called A1C, a simple blood test that helps measure your risk of serious complications. Learn more at diabetesa1c.org.
Welcome back. Joining me now is senior men's lacrosse captain Andrew McIntosh. Welcome to the show, Andrew.
Thank you, Geoff. Thanks for having me.
All right, it's been my pleasure, my pleasure. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm from Putnam Valley, New York. One of the programs that we recruit heavily from, as Coach Mahar was saying before. I'm a senior. I'm a secondary education major with a concentration in social studies. And like Steve, this is my last year of lacrosse, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Now, you transferred here after your freshman year?
Yep, I came from Plattsburgh State University.
Now, when you were thinking about transferring, what about Oneonta stood out for you that made you come?
Right away I saw what a great education program they had. It was NCATE certified, so that was something that was really, really great, and it's something I wanted to be a part of. Reading Coach Mahar's bio, it was something unique, and I could just sense that he had a compassion for his student athletes that I think I wanted to be a part of. So, and the rest is history. We just contacted each other, and that was it.
Right.
So.
Now I just want to, when you talk about men's lacrosse, everybody thinks it's a big physical, burly sport, and you can't, have to be serious all the time. But when you talk about compassion about a coach in a sport such as men's lacrosse, I mean, how important do you think that is with the team?
It's very, very important. Coach Mahar really understands that there's a person underneath that uniform, and that the athletes have more to life than just lacrosse. There's academics going on, there's family going on, just a whole bunch of things going on in life, and he really understands that, and will be there to help you at any time with that. So.
Something to rally around. I mean, we talk about team cohesiveness and how teams bond together. I mean, that certainly seems like that would be an element that most people, like you say, I mean, it's not just lacrosse. There's a lot of things going on. So I would think that would probably be pretty important to everyone on the team.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's everybody feels welcome at the program, and I've been asking that since day one when the freshmen step on, and even before that when we started emailing them in the summer to start making them feel welcome and a part of something that's bigger than themselves, and just a part of the Oneonta State lacrosse family.
Now, you enjoy being involved in the recruiting process, being involved with the potential recruits?
It's great. Any way I can help the program, and I completely respect when student athletes are looking at other schools, and I tell them to look at other schools. It's good to, see what's going to make them happy.
Right.
But I'll always be there to tell them that what Oneonta State has to offer, and that is a coach who's very compassionate about his players, a great academic setting, and somewhere where you can feel at home.
Okay, now secondary education.
Yes.
I know throughout the year we've had a lot of elementary education people on. Differences in the program, you don't do a block, it's a research methods type thing. So what kinds of, what's the workload like in trying to also play lacrosse and balance all those other things?
Oh, it can get very difficult sometimes, but I try and enjoy the process though, because I've been able to meet some really fantastic people throughout the education department. Lots of hours of field experience are involved, and you get to meet experienced teachers who have been teaching for so long and just know the profession really well. And then I try and translate that onto the field. If a freshman defenseman is trying to understand the defense a little bit, I may use some skills that I've learned in my education classes and maybe help them understand the defense a little bit more.
So you really think that your ultimate goal could be as maybe a teacher and a coach?
Absolutely, yeah.
And you think that would fit you just fine?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's good to know. I mean, we do need a lot of good young coaches out there that want to teach the game.
Yeah.
It's not all about ESPN. And,
yes.
Let's talk a little bit about this year's team. You're starting defenseman for us. We've had a couple off to a good start. What about this year so far do you think is going well for us, and where do you think we'll go as we move forward?
Well, the team, I believe, has a really good common goal, and that is to first, reach the SUNY tournament and then have success there. We really try and focus on one game at a time. Right now we're focused on Union College, and that's it. We just want to take one game at a time and just get it done on the field and work hard and get after the ground balls and all the fundamentals that we talked about earlier in the show. So.
Now, working together with your other defensemen, because you guys have to be a cohesive unit. How's that going so far? Well,
it's been a fantastic experience. Andrew Gallo, what a talent he is. He's awesome. And Hugh O'Gorman, just another great talent. It's funny, Hugh was really young when I was in high school and I was a senior, and now we're playing together, just like Jimmy Van der Veerdonk, who's also a great freshman who came in, who's playing, and we have a lot of younger defensemen who are really playing well too, and they're picking up the game as we go, and as we get along here throughout the season, we're really going to expect a lot from them to step up and help out if someone's getting a little bit injured during the season. And I can't say enough about Sean Reynolds right now.
New goalie.
Yeah, he is unbelievable. He's another real treat to play with.
Yeah.
And then our backup goalies right now, Chris Miles and Mike Sullivan, are doing a great job too, challenging our players every day in practice to take the best shot possible. Right. And I think that's what really makes this team really work hard every day from a defensive perspective.
So really it comes from the practice.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys practice hard.
We practice hard, and then we play hard in the games.
Now, how important is it to play with kids that you played in high school with? I mean, like you said, here you are, you were a senior, and these kids are coming into the program from where you went to high school. How important is that?
Oh, it's really great, and it's great to see that after I left Putnam Valley, to see that people still want to play lacrosse in college and continue it, and they enjoy it, and that they're just leading happy and healthy lives, Right. So.
Well, we certainly want to thank you for coming by tonight.
Absolutely,
we want to wish you
pleasure.
the best of luck this season.
Thank you so much, Geoff, for having me.
Yeah. We'd like to thank all our guests tonight from the men's lacrosse program, head coach Dan Mahar, and senior captains Andrew McIntosh and Steve Loesch. And we'd like to remind you to check out our website for all the latest news and what's going on in our department for games and game changes. We'd like to thank you for joining us this week, and please join us next Monday for another edition of Inside Red Dragon Sports.